Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1 Million Women Take Control series. My name is Julie Johnson, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. And we have women from all over the country tuning in with us tonight. So if you haven't already done so, jump into the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to hear where everybody is coming from when we have our monthly gatherings here. Seattle, Las Vegas, Texas, Kentucky, Chicago, Oregon. We're glad you took some time to learn a few things and to join us in our quest to educate more and more women every single month in our 1 Million Women series. So, as you may have heard, or you possibly felt a little bit of it in your heart or your gut while watching that video, the future of women and their finances is all in our hands. To educate and support our mothers, our daughters, grandmothers, aunties, sisters, and women friends as we prepare for that great wealth transfer that will be happening over the next 20 years. And it will be impacting so many of us. And so we're glad you're here and we're excited to share important information about women and money that is relevant to all of us. Now, this is the fifth in our series for 2026. And we welcome you to join us every fourth Thursday of the month for our ongoing series, touching on topics each month that are important to women of all ages and stages of life. Now, this month, July 4th, we all celebrated our nation's independence. And what we want to focus on tonight is financial independence. The women of WealthWave have a mission, and that is to educate and help other women find their paths to financial independence and to find out what financial independence means to each of us. But first, you're in for a real treat. You are going to hear from the co-author of our book, How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It, Kim Schooler. So let me introduce Kim to you. I love this woman, by the way. Kim is a successful woman on many fronts. She has been an attorney for over 30 years, and she runs a very successful financial education and services business. As a matter of fact, Kim has served as the in-house counsel for one of the largest financial services companies in the world, and she was the president, when not many women were presidents, of one of the largest broker-dealers in the country. She was recently recognized as a woman to watch by Investment News, which is the financial industry's most respected publication. Kim continues month after month to speak with women about the importance and the impact of financial education. So please help me welcome Kim Schooler.
Thank you so much, Julie. It is really great to be with you all tonight. As you saw in the chat, I'm usually based in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm actually joining you all from St. Martin. I'm down in St. Martin with a group of very close business friends. Several of us have July birthdays, and so we're down here not only celebrating a great year so far and so many things that we're still working on, but we're celebrating our July birthdays as well. And so when I think about financial independence, that's part of it. Being able to take time away with people you care about, whether it's business friends or family or fun friends, and, go someplace, kind of cool like St. Martin and have a great time. But it is absolutely wonderful being with you all tonight, as it is every month. And I love that July, my birthday month, is a month where we celebrate financial independence. Now, as Julie mentioned, I'm the co-author of the book How Money Works for Women with Sharon Lechter. And Sharon and I are both very committed to helping women understand better how money works. So, whatever financial independence means to you, you have the tools and the knowledge to bring that into your life. Now, for women in particular, understanding how money works is so important because by 2048, an estimated $124 trillion is going to pass to heirs in what economists call the Great Wealth Transfer. And most of that is coming to women. In fact, 54 trillion will go to surviving spouses, 95% of whom are women, and another 47 trillion will be inherited by daughters and granddaughters. In addition to the great wealth transfer coming to women, which is a seismic shift in wealth in this country, women are stepping up in all kinds of ways, academically and in the workplace. Today, women are 60% of college students. To me, that blows my mind. 60% of our college kids are women today, which just says so much about women wanting to improve their situations by becoming more educated, which is part of what we're doing tonight when we talk about money. In addition to that, we are taking our rightful place in the workplace. We represent about half of the workforce and more than half of the workers in professional careers. But when it comes to women, there's always a but. But there's the pay gap. We earn just 81 cents for every dollar earned by a man. And the story is worse for women of color. Black women earn just 65 cents for every dollar earned by Caucasian men. Now, for women in general and women of color, COVID had a tremendous negative impact on the pay gap. We actually were earning more, 2 or 3 cents more than the 81 cents or the 65 cents. But because so many women had to come out of the workforce during COVID, or they had to take time away or work less, work fewer hours in order to take care of their children or sick parents or a sick partner, many women today are further behind than we were before COVID. Now, women talk about two things when it comes to explaining the pay gap. A lot of women say that they're treated differently by their employers. And any woman who's been in the workplace will testify to that. We have all experienced different treatment by employers. And hopefully, those of you who are still employed, rather than working for yourself or working from home, you're not in a situation like that, but I've experienced it. But in addition to that, so many women have caregiving responsibilities. We raise our children. Maybe we take care of aging parents, or maybe we have a sick partner. And all of that takes us out of the workplace or takes us out of visible projects. It hurts our ability to get promotions. It hurts our ability to get raises or to get the kind of notice you need in order to get those promotions and raises. Now, when you look at median annual earnings, saying 81 cents is one thing, but how does that translate into real dollars? Well, last year, the median annual earnings for men was a little bit more than 65,000. For women, it was a little bit more than 54,000. So you can see 81 cents actually translates into $11,000 less for women. Now, how significant would an extra $11,000 be in your pocket, especially if you're taking care of children? Now, over a 40-year career, that's $462,000 less. $462,000 less that you have to pay off debt. It's $462,000 less that you have to set aside for your future financial goals, including retirement. So by the time we do retire, retired women will receive around 77% of what retired men receive in Social Security benefits. And so for women, there are all of these gaps when it comes to money: the pay gap, the retirement gap, the entrepreneurship gap, the financial literacy gap. All of that is what led Sharon and I to create the book, How Money Works for Women: Take Control or Lose It. And in the book, we have a lot of suggestions, practical, everyday things that busy women can put into place to help them take control of their financial situation and accomplish the goals that they want in their lives. And I've got a special announcement today about the book. So we recently updated the book. We're in our third printing. We sold out of the first two printings. And for the third printing, Sharon and I updated all of the statistics, all of the information in the book. We included some new chapters, some new information in there. So I hope you get the new book, even if you've already read the previous version. But the thing that I wanted to announce today is today, the summary, a 20-page ebook summary of the book, is available for downloading, for reading. And so you can see, kind of in 20 pages, some highlights from the book. And hopefully that'll lead you to get the full book if you haven't already gotten it. But we'll talk more about how to get your hands on the book in a minute. But in the book, we talk about a lot of things. Tonight, because we're focused on financial independence, I wanted to talk about saving and investing more money, because that's the number one regret women have, financial regret that we have, that we didn't invest more money. And I don't want any woman on this webinar to say a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, I attended that webinar on that Thursday night in July, and they told me I need to save and invest more money. Gosh, I wish I had done that. I don't want anybody attending this webinar to have that regret later on. So we're going to talk about, so what does it mean to save and invest more money? Well, there's a myth out there that you have to have a lot of money in order to invest money, and that's just not the case. You can save as little as $1 a day. In a month, that's $30, and in a year, that's $365. Or you can save $5 a day. For me, the equivalent of one latte. In a month, that's $150. In a year, that's $1,825. Or maybe you can save $10 a day. One latte and one muffin for me. In a month, that's $300. And in a year, that's $3,650. And that doesn't even take into account any investment gains. So what do investment gains? What is it about investing that we need to pay attention to? Well, there are three concepts you need to understand. The first one is about the power of compound interest. And it's really easy. There are two kinds of interest: simple interest and compound interest. With simple interest, it's just interest earned on principal. But with compound interest, it's interest earned on principal, but also interest, previous interest. So here's an example of simple interest. Say I loaned somebody $1,500 for a 50-year period, and I charged them 9% interest. In over that 50-year period, that $1,500 would only grow to be a little more than $8,000. Not very much, but remember, with simple interest, interest is just accruing on the principal. So let's look at the compound interest example. With compound interest, you can see same $1,500, same 50-year period, same 9% interest rate. Instead of that $8,000 at the end of the 50 years, they would owe me almost $133,000, because it's interest on principal and interest. Now, the other thing that I like to point out to people, especially when it comes to compound interest, is you can see on the screen how during this first 10 to 12-year period, it doesn't look like it's growing very much at all. But that, don't let that deceive you because as you wait, the longer you wait, the more interest grows, the more exponential growth you'll see, and you'll see that steep curve. So in the first 10 to 12 years, when it doesn't look like it's growing very much, and you're going to be tempted to take that money out and buy a new refrigerator or go on a dream vacation, whatever it is, don't do it. Don't touch it. Let that money grow over the long term. Second principle that I want you to be aware of is the time value of money. Time plays a significant role in the growth of your money. So let's look at this example, Sarah and George. Now, Sarah, she started saving at age 22. She set aside $4,000 a year. She did it for 8 years in a row. She stopped when she turned age 30 and just let the money grow. When she retired at age 67, that money grew to be $1.4 million. And all she had invested was $32,000. You see how a little bit of money can grow to a large amount of money over time and with compound interest. Now, George, on the other hand, didn't start saving until he turned 30. He did the same thing Sarah did, $4,000 a year, but he did it for 38 years. He didn't stop until he retired at age 67. So he invested almost $152,000 compared to Sarah's $32,000, and his money grew to be 1.3 million. Now, 1.3 million is nothing to sneeze at and good for George for putting that money aside. But you can see how having that extra amount of time at the beginning for Sarah really paid off for her. And she had to do less investing than George did over the long term because she started early. Now, wherever you are in your life, in your career, in your family, just start. It doesn't matter how old you are, just start. But if we are looking at age, look at how much you'd have to set aside to have $1 million by the time you're in your 60s. If you're in your 20s, it's about $113 a month. If you're in your 30s, it's $282 a month. If you're in your 40s, it's more than $700 a month. And if you're in your 50s, it's more than $2,000 a month. Again, you're never too late to start. But you can see by this chart, the earlier you start, the smaller amount of money you have to set aside. So my advice to you is just start. And in the book, we have all kinds of ideas on where you can find that money, the things that you can do to create more money coming in and less money going out. So I recommend you look at the book. Now, the third concept I want to talk to you about when it comes to investing is the rule of 72. And it's always the number 72. That's why it's called the rule of 72. So you take the number 72 and you divide it by your interest rate. And that tells you the number of years it'll take for your money to double. So say you've got your money in the bank and it's earning 1%. 72 divided by 1 is 72. Your money's going to double in 72 years. Now, I don't know many people who have 72 years to wait for their money to double, but let's look at other interest rates. Maybe you're earning 3%. You're in a money market. Well, 72 divided by 3 is 24. Your money's going to double every 24 years. Maybe you're earning 6%, a real high interest rate CD. 72 divided by 6 is 12. Or maybe you're in the market. You're earning 9%. 72 divided by 9 is 8. Or maybe you're earning 12%. 72 divided by 12 is 6. Your money's going to double every 6 years, every 8 years, every 12 years, whatever that is. It's important to understand how many doubles you need in order to get to your financial goal. Now, I teach this class for a lot of college students, business students. And the question I always get from those smart college kids is, Kim, where am I going to get 9 or 12%? Well, if you look at the history of the S&P 500, all the way since it began, the average annual return is somewhere between 9 and 12%. Now, you're not going to get that every year. Some years you may lose money. Some years you're going to make way more than that. It's in the market, so there are no guaranteed gains or losses. But over time, the market is usually a really good place to earn a higher rate of return. Now, the caveat I would put on that is I recommend you get with a financial professional or a financial educator or a financial coach, someone who's going to work with you to understand what your risk is in investing in whatever that investment vehicle is. Now, the rule of 72 can work for you or it can work against you. Now, right now, a lot of people have their money in a savings account at the bank. And unfortunately, we're not getting 1%. We're getting somewhere around 0.15%. So let's do the math. 72 divided by 0.15 is 480 years. I know of no one or no family that has that long to wait for their money to double. But the bank is so anxious for you to have their credit card. The average new credit card interest rate is around 22.44%. So, how quickly is the bank's money doubling? Well, let's do the math. 72 divided by 22.44 is 3.2 years. So, let me get this right. My money in the bank is doubling every 480 years, but the bank's money on the credit card they were so anxious for me to have is doubling every 3.2 years. So you can see again why it's so important that we all have a better understanding about how money works. Now, when we sit down with someone to talk to them about their finances, where they are today, and where they want to be in the future, we map it out across the 7 money milestones, from financial education to proper protection, emergency fund, debt management, cash flow, building wealth, and protecting wealth. They're all important. Some are going to be more important than others, just depending on where you are in your life, your career, your family. But you do want to have that checklist in mind that you've touched on each one of them. And, talk to your financial professional about how you can improve your situation in each one of these categories. Now, in the women's book, Sharon and I talk about those three basic financial concepts, as well as the 7 money milestones, through the stories of 9 characters. And you can see they're all different ages. They have different backgrounds. Some are stay-at-home moms, some are business owners, some are students. They, come from a variety of situations. We really tried to capture the many situations that Sharon and I have gone through ourselves, or we know people, or we've helped women who've gone through them. And so I really encourage you. I myself identify with several of the characters in the book. So I really encourage you to read those chapters and see what you identify with and what situation you find yourself in. And what are the lessons? What are the things that you can learn and how you can help improve your situation? Now, one of the most important things that I would say, gotten from being part of Wealth Wave and having a better understanding of how money works is it's given me this path to create, grow, protect, and pass on wealth. At the very beginning, Julie Johnson talked about my background. I was a lawyer, I am a lawyer. I worked as a corporate lawyer and then I worked as a corporate executive. I made it all the way to the top of the corporate ladder in my field and was very successful, but I had no control over my time. And really, my ability to create wealth was capped. And what I would say is understanding how money works, understanding how the world works, how the corporate world works, and the world works. I have a much better understanding of not only business ownership, career paths, but how to help my money grow. And because of that, I've been able to do things in my life that I never would have thought possible when I worked on the corporate side. And I loved being part of Transamerica, loved being part of the corporate side. But what I'm able to do now is pretty incredible. So I mentioned I have a July birthday, and this birthday this year is kind of a milestone birthday for me. So this year, a couple of weeks ago, I turned 65, which holy smokes, I never in a million years thought I'd be that old. My girlfriends and I are just are amazed. But anyway, all of my friends are retiring and downsizing. But at a time, this is a time in my life when I feel more invigorated, more passionate and committed to the work that I'm doing, but also the things that I want to do for my family. So rather than downsizing, I upsized. I bought a bigger house and I moved my whole family in. I moved my sister, you could see her on the screen, and my niece. This picture was taken a few years ago. My niece is now 19 years old. She got through high school and she's starting college. My beautiful son and his amazing wife moved in with me as well. And then my now 88-year-old mother also moved in with me. She celebrated her 88th birthday in May. And all of their cats. So I will just say that there are more cats than people in my house. And it's smelly and it's loud and it's messy, but we celebrate the holidays together. We cook together. We watch movies together. We spend time together. We put puzzles together. We take care of each other. While I am in beautiful St. Martin this week, the rest of my family is taking care of my mother. And for me, that is a dream come true. To me, that's a big part of what financial literacy means. And I really challenge and encourage all of you to think about what does financial literacy and financial independence mean to you? Because it has been something that has made my life beyond what I imagined it could be back when I was living the corporate life. And so I wanted to share that story with you that, financial independence to me has come about because I know how money works and I own my own business. And I own my own business in financial services. We need more women financial service professionals. And so I encourage all of you on this webinar to consider that as a career path. I didn't, you know, change into that to being a financial professional from being a corporate executive. I didn't do that until my 40s. And so it's never too late. I learn every day, and I'm 65. I learn new things every day. And so with that, Julie, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Kim. And so, Kim, as we're shifting gears here, um, how would you describe as we close your section here, how do you see financial independence for you? You've shared a few of them, but can you kind of summarize it in one sentence? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but please try.
You know, Financial independence for me means having choices. It's being able to choose whether you want a bigger house to move your family in, if you want to travel the world, if you want to go to St. Martin to celebrate your birthday. In September, I'm taking a group of my closest girlfriends to Costa Rica for a week. For me, financial independence is all about having choices. And everyone else's choices would, be totally different from mine. And I love that. I absolutely love that. But you having your own choice about what you want to do to celebrate your life or to take care of your family or to treat yourself, whatever it is, having that choice to me is financial independence.
Thank you, Kim. And so, ladies, this is my challenge to you at this moment while I change the screens here on our webinar. Go into the chat and tell us what does financial independence look like or feel like to you? We'd love to hear what you have to share about that. It gives us all a chance to actually think about it. So thank you, Kim, for priming the pump for us. Time freedom, having choices. I think a lot of people are going to agree with Kim's choices. That's an absolute great one. Let me know if you can see my screen, ladies.
Yes, we can, Julie.
Thank you. Having enough money to take time off to spend with my children whenever I want. Freedom to play. Choices. A lot of people have jumped on the choices train. I agree. I like that one too. Hope. That's a lovely one. Freedom from the corporate America handcuffs. Oh, Janet, thank you for that. I hit that corporate glass ceiling many years ago. To do what I want when I want and to leave a legacy. That's a good one. Thank you, Brandy. Oh, thank you everyone for participating. This is great. Work optional lifestyle. All right, that's the new term for retirement. It's no longer called retirement, it's called work optional lifestyle. I love that. A lot of great, great thoughts. Well, I'm thinking that you can see our 9 characters on the screen again. And although I can't see it because I am presenting at this moment. So if you don't see the 9 characters on the screen, please let me know. Um, and let's move on to talk a little bit about how financial independence might look to our characters in the book. And so I'm going to briefly touch on each of them, and then we've got some comments from a couple of guest speakers this evening as well. Of course, let's start with Zoe, our youngster, our student. And reading Zoe's chapter, I think you'll walk away recognizing that for her, financial independence is really tied right now to getting out from under any student debt. And isn't that the story for so many college students today? But also, Zoe wants to make sure she has a plan. So, financial independence for her is being free from her student debt and having a plan to move forward in life to create that future where finances are not an issue for her. And so that can be financial independence for a young woman at this stage in her life. And then we move on to Maria. Maria is in her late 20s. She's a CPA, she's a business owner, and she's about to get married. And it seems like financial independence to her has a lot to do with making sure she understands finances and has that plan moving forward, like the one Zoe created. And so for this, we're going to ask for Christine Beaver to turn on her sound and her camera, and to please share with us a little bit about how she, in this same age group, a young woman, a young mother, and a business owner, what financial independence looks like to her. And so, Christine, can you share with us at this time?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, ladies. It's good to see you from all across the country. Really quick, Kim, I love listening to you speak. I took some notes because there were things that stood out on the saving side that I can definitely do better on. And so thank you for that. About a year and a half ago, I was listening to Kim speak, and it really hones in on why financial freedom is so important to me. I was sick, I had lost a child, and I was drowning in debt and did not know why I was even there learning about how money works or what I needed to do because I felt like such a fraud and that I just wasn't doing enough. But Kim spoke, and I hope you guys paid attention that when she speaks, she's talking about key principles that will give you the financial freedom you want. Kim touched my soul. I went home to my husband and I said, we've got to make some changes. I don't even know where he's going. And so I used the 7 money milestones and we dug down and I went into debt management and looking at where our money was truly going. And it was shocking. It was shocking to see that $2,100 a month was just evaporating out of my account for nothing. And I owe that to Kim. Um, over the last year, it's been very hard to um, stick to a budget and really hone in. But, and I will say this is a great month to talk about it, I wanted freedom more. I put it everywhere. I had it on my bathroom mirror. I had it on sticky notes. I had it as a screensaver. Deliberate action changes everything. Trust the process. So we did deliberate action to have freedom. Now, what does that look like me a year and a half later? Well, it's like $30,000 gone. It looks like weeks being built. So that's been an interesting thing. But we closed on our home. We've been married 24 years and have never owned a home. So I'll say it as slow as I can, and I hope you write it down. Deliberate action changes everything. Trust the process. Kim and Sharon, they understand not just their careers, not just what they do for the individual women, but they wanted to reach masses. If you are seeking financial freedom, whatever that looks like for you, and I loved all those answers. If you want freedom, and I'm telling you, waking up knowing that I don't have a massive debt payment, that I don't have to worry about my check the next week, or I don't have to, my money hasn't magically increased. I mean, it has, but finding these principles gave me the freedom, and it's helped my health to be able to wake up and know we've got it pretty much handled. We're not perfect. There's lots of room for growth. Clearly, I need to save more. I took lots of notes on that. But learning and sticking with the system will give you the financial freedom that you want. And we need to teach other people. I love that they say I'm young. I wish I was young. I don't feel young. I mean, I have a 2-year-old, but I also have a 13 and an 18-year-old. I desperately, well, he would be 18. I desperately want to help other women succeed. And that doesn't mean I want them to just come on and succeed in business. I do, but I want them to wake up without fear. I want them to have hope. Financial freedom to me, hope is the biggest thing. because with hope, man, anything is possible. When you're not shrouded anymore in all of the doubt and all of the angst and all of the worry, man, it's nice to dream again. It's nice to have hope and to be able to do that. And I'm so forever grateful for Kim because she has given that to me and my family. And so, again, I'll leave you with just that deliberate action changes everything. Trust the process. Just like Kim said, don't pull money out. Don't be scared. Don't trust the process. I promise if you follow the book, if you do what you need to do, you will get financial freedom. I hope that was.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christine. That was really helpful. And I think there are a lot of women here tonight who can relate with what you shared. And I so appreciate that you did. Thank you. All right, so back to our characters. If you can't see the screen, let me know. I'll adapt. But the next character in our book is Val, and on reading Val's chapter, I came to the conclusion that it appears that Val, for her, it's going to be financial confidence because she's caring for a special needs child as well as running a business of her own. And knowing that she can be confident and find ways that she can not only take care of herself for the rest of her life, but also make sure she has the resources for her son to be cared for, even if she's not with us. So her chapter is really a moving chapter, and I encourage you to read it. Dana is a confident hospital administrator, and for Dana, financial independence means that she knows that she can not only put her children through college, but at the same time be able to put aside what she needs for her own financial future. So she has a commitment. So for her, financial independence means she sticks with her commitments to taking care of what her needs will be in the future. Now, Sarah, our other character, Sarah's chapter is an interesting one, and she had escaped from a an abusive relationship and became a very successful realtor. And it felt to me like financial independence for Sarah would mean safety and owning her worth, which is a way she might not have felt in the past. And so that's how I would recognize Sarah's feelings about financial independence. Read her chapter and then see if you agree with me on that one. May, on the other hand, May is our sandwich generation woman. Those of you who know what a sandwich woman is, she is taking care of both her elderly father and her grown son has moved back in with her. And so for her, financial independence is, I believe, her being confident that she's going to be able to work with her son and her father so that they can cohabitate and take care of each other. And then when her son has been able to move back out on his own, and when her father is gone, she will still have enough to take care of herself. So she's planning for 3 lifetimes, her son's, her own, and her father's. Um, and then there are two next characters in our book, both Hope and Fatima, and they are women who have found themselves single in their later years due to either divorce or widowhood. And so, what does financial independence mean for a woman like that? Well, we have a special guest with us today. And so, Eileen, would you be willing to turn your camera on and your audio? And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about that exact topic.
Yes, that sounds fine.
So, Eileen, thank you for joining us. So, let me ask, what made you start thinking about your future and how you could feel like you were financially independent as a senior?
Well, when I was, excuse me, when I was younger, I used to think, how can I save money? And I was having a difficult time. And then I got to be in my 50s and I realized I really hadn't saved anything or planned anything. And so I looked at my dad, who had two pensions coming in from the government. And then I ended up because of the kind of work I did, I ended up going to work for the county of San Mateo in California and the Department of Rehab in California. And I went to work for the College of San Mateo as an instructor and counselor. And so I have 3 pensions, but you would think that would be fine. But the fact is, I don't have any real financial security, or I haven't had until lately, because I didn't really have a big pot of money that was being managed correctly. And so I belong to a group called Aging with Grace through Holy Trinity Church. And one of the women there, Hillary Hutchinson, she referred me to you based on a referral she had. And so I've been going with Julie now for several sessions, and we're working on a plan for me to feel more secure in my financial involvement and my direction, which I haven't had that feeling at all. I've been very fearful and worried about my future. And so I feel very good now that we're working on that, and that will be something that it will erase a lot of the fear that I've had, and most of it. So, I can go on. And then my son, who's also involved in some financial, what am I trying to say? Investing in stocks, which I've never really learned much about, because I just kind of thought, well, I have these pensions, but I didn't really learn the value of that. He's been teaching me some things about that. But anyway, I do feel, because of my involvement with Julie, that I have a solid direction that I'm moving in, and it's helping to really remove some of the fears and other things that I have in the past.
Well, thank you, Eileen. And so the steps that you're taking, if you could kind of touch on, you've met with me a couple of times, and you're educating yourself as well. I mean, I know you've
Right.
done a lot of research. So share a little bit more about other things that you've done, steps that you've taken to get yourself to this place where it's like, I'm gonna be fine.
Well, in meeting with you and then looking at my accounts that I have with Fidelity that my son helped me with, I've now come to, after talking with you, to some decision about what direction we're going to move in, so that I will feel secure in my future, that I'll have enough money if some catastrophe should happen, and that I'll be okay. So I feel really very secure about that. And I think my son, once he hears about it, he will also feel very good about this direction and the program. But I have been looking at articles, and I've been looking at things from Fidelity, sharing of looking at my account and seeing where I could do better, what some of my withdrawals, how that's helped or hurt me. So anyway, on your recommendations, I've been taking these steps to learn more about my accounts. And as I said, I never really looked into that kind of future. I never looked at the stocks. I knew that they were probably the best bet for investing, but I never personally got involved in those. And so my father didn't really. So, I was never passed on to me. And I wish I had known more about that in the past. But now I'm learning about it, and I'm learning what kinds of resources are out there. And so that's, having a financial advisor such as Julie has really, really helped me a lot. And I'm very happy that I came in contact with her. And so anyway, I'm just very appreciative of everything.
Well, thank you, Eileen. And would you agree that there's a lot of women out there who need some direction and some help and some guidance? And we all want to just keep reaching out. It takes a village, doesn't it, to
Yeah.
help us all? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I know so many women, and especially younger women, who haven't really ever thought about this like I didn't. So I'm spreading the word, and I'm talking to some groups that I'm involved in. Besides Aging with Grace, there's other groups I'm involved in. I'm making recommendations for them to get involved and to attend these seminars, because I feel like the topics are really, really very important for women to hear about and to know about, because I was rather surprised at my age of learning about some of these things I didn't know about when I was younger. And I certainly wasn't looking into as I faced retirement. So I only had one piece of the retirement puzzle. The other part was the, accumulation of money and how you're investing that. And that part I didn't have. I had the monthly income figured out, but not the other part. So I think a lot of people don't realize that. They may just think, I have to figure out how to invest in an IRA or Roth IRA or, whatever. Where I didn't have those. Well, I did have those choices, but I didn't use them. So,
Yeah.
so women nowadays really need to become educated about their finances in the future.
Thank
As
you, Eileen. You are our
you're
best cheerleader. Thank you for being a cheerleader for the 1 million women take control. We really appreciate that.
okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right. And so now let's talk about our final character in the book, Jan. And Jan, I would say her idea of financial independence is pride. She's proud of herself because she had been taking control of her finances from the very beginning. She was always involved in the financial decisions in her home. And we wish all of us could have been like that. And you heard what Eileen had to say. She wishes she would have been able to know more about it. And just like Kim said, we're all going to look back and wish we'd have saved more money. So there is a theme running through this meeting tonight that financial independence will come from taking action. You also heard it from Christine, keep going, keep going. So, and then I do want to share one more thing. And I'm wondering if the next slide showed for you, Woman on the Bike. If it's not there, let me know.
It's not there yet, Julie.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna reshare my screen and get that for you guys. Here we go. And there she is. So, one more thing. Kim and Sharon added another chapter to the second edition of the women's book because there's a rising demographic of women who are single with no kids and living their best life. And we wanted to make sure that we talked about that. Now, what would financial independence look like to a single woman, one income, and no children? We call them SINKs, SINKS, single income, no kids. And financial independence for them, and I'm not a sink myself, but in reading the section and the new chapter about them in the book, 65% of single women say that they believe they can achieve their major financial milestones on their own, no partner necessary. So I think that financial independence is knowing that you can make it on your own, no partner necessary. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit more with you about upcoming events because we're closing here. And a couple of things we want you to know. This slide here is a listing of all the dates coming up for the 1 Million Women Take Control series. And also, there are some QR codes on your screen here tonight. And one of them is that we will be posting the replays of all of these on our YouTube channel. And there's a QR code for the YouTube channel. There's also a QR code for registering for the next workshops. And then we also have a seminar feedback form that we'd like for you to fill out. And as part of filling out the seminar feedback form, we want you to know that each month we're going to pick 5 attendees and send them a copy of our new book for completing the seminar feedback for us because we want to improve these monthly sessions, and we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of the women who want to come and join us each month for these educational sessions. Now, let me read off the winners from last month's session, and they're going to get a copy. We'll reach out and they'll get a copy of the new book. Barbara Bertucci, Constance White, Javita Duncan, Nydia Yanez, and Alexis Okasinski. So congratulations. If any of you were on tonight, congrats. You were on with us last month. You filled out the seminar feedback form, and we will make sure you get a book. And lastly, this is a copy of the book, of course. And if you'd like to get a copy of the book and a copy potentially also of the 20-page summary of the book, which is out, apparently it's out on probably on our websites. We'll find out. And the person who invited you to this, let them know if you'd like a copy of the book, and also let them know if you'd like a copy of the summary. And so with that, I want to make sure I haven't forgotten anything to share tonight, ladies. If there is anything you wanted me to share, I'll do it. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining us. And please come back next month where we are going to talk about raising financially literate kids.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.